G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going over the manual conversion side of the RX-8. So not swapping the 4-port automatic to a 6-port manual, it's swapping the 4-port automatic to a 4-port manual. So there's been a lot of people, I've noticed the past couple of days, specifically asking about problems with starting their car after they've done an engine conversion. Now, most of these problems are coming from them swapping the ECU, not just swapping the gearbox. Yeah, not a good idea. So I thought I'd just go over how I did mine. Mine's been like this now for almost a year. It took me 2 days to do, and it was pretty straightforward. Now, it's not like a full manual conversion where the whole car thinks it's a manual. It's just, removed the automatic parts, the transmission controller, changed the clutch pedal and the brake pedal, and made it work with the automatic ECU, but with a manual gearbox. So we'll have a look at a few things that I had to do to make it work, and also a few things that I removed, just so if you're going to do yours, it's not so much of a question as a what do I need to do or how do I do it. It's just, this is how you do it. This is what worked for me. You can obviously go further if you want to, but like I said, I haven't needed to. I've been driving this around for almost a year and it's been perfect. So we'll go look at the parts that I've removed, and some of the caveats and some of the issues that I had when I first did it and didn't really pay attention to what I was doing. I was just sort of went, oh crap, this caught me off guard, fix it and make it work. So we'll go have a look at that now. Okay, so first thing first, we have the brake fluid reservoir with the feed at the side of it. So I didn't replace this. This was already here, obviously, it's just blanked off. All I did was get a drill bit, emptied this, put a vacuum in there and just drilled through it. Now, pretty simple to do, and then I just tapped it and just stuck some epoxy on it. And she's all good. So it's been like that for about a year, and yeah, no problems at all. Now the hole is already here for the slave cylinder. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Just pull the plug out, pull the slave cylinder in. Don't mind the little pressure gauge there, but yeah, straightforward that part. The line fits in perfectly fine. So the line goes in the standard place. So there's already a line bracket there for it. So this line here, you just have to clip it in. So it just goes in the standard place down there. Okay, so the next part is where the gearbox mounts to the automatic rear iron. So you can see just there where the automatic starter motor sits. And obviously there's no starter motor there because, well, no starter motor on this side, it's on the other side, so behind there now. So what I did is I got that bolt, so that one just there, focus camera, there we go. So that one there, that holds the top of the starter motor in, and the bottom one just bolts straight into the bell housing there, and then there's a bolt that goes through the bell housing into the rear iron. So really, there is one bolt missing off the bell housing for the iron, but we still have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts holding it, and yeah, that's not going to be a problem, not in the slightest. As far as the tail shaft goes, everything bolted straight up. So power plant frame was exactly the same because it was a Series 1 gearbox and a Series 1 power plant frame. I'm still using the automatic tail shaft, that's still standard. The only thing I had to do was a little bit of chopping in the wiring. So I'll get up there and have a look at that for you. Alrighty, so without being a contortionist, I am under the car. So we've got 2 sets of wires here. So we've got, I think that one would be, that's the reverse switch there. I'll just double check that, but that's like a red with yellow trace. Yeah, red with yellow trace, and a black with yellow trace. Focus camera, there we go. So, I don't know if you can see that very well, but let's try. Yeah, so black with yellow and red with yellow. And then for neutral safety, that is like a green with red. Why is this camera so shit? Doesn't like the angle I'm on. There we go. So that's like a lime green with red stripe and a white with blue stripe. So, because they're just two wires, they just open or closed. And that pretty much that just gets tucked up on top of the gearbox, and all the rest of the automatic loom is up there as well. So that just stays out of the way, and yeah, no problems with that at all. And that's all I needed to do for the wiring for the gearbox, apart from obviously extend solenoid wire here, which I just got I think it was a 10 gauge wire, and extended it like 300mm. And obviously there's a 4 gauge battery positive, which I just reran the entire thing, and that just comes up into this one here. So that just gives me the power I need to kick the motor over. Mind the carpet, it's a little bit dirty at the moment. As for the pedals, I just bought these pedal sets. So these are slip-on sets, just the OEM ones, and that was an OEM one as well. I just bought a brake pedal, manual brake pedal, and obviously clutch pedal, and then the manual footrest. Now for the pedals, you do have to change the brake pedal, obviously, because it's smaller. The automatic one takes up heaps of room, and add the clutch pedal. Now obviously in here I've got clutch pedal there, and yeah, that just bolts straight in. Everything's there, you just need a couple of bolts. I mean they're like M10, M12 bolts, and they just bolt straight up. And 2 bolts for the master cylinder, and that holds the pedal in. Brake pedal is just those 4 bolts there, and then a couple of bolts at the top there. Now I did leave the lockout cable. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, lockout cable just there somewhere. Yeah, I left that in place. I just tucked it up out of the way. So it is actually behind in here, just coiled up, because I couldn't be bothered removing it. It just stays there and you don't see it. Now, as for everything else you need, obviously you need manual surround, because yeah, the automatic one's not going to work. This literally just unbolts with 4 plastic screws underneath, which I'll go grab the auto one to show you. Okay, so the automatic one, well, all of them really, it's just 4 screws, one there, and one there, and this whole section comes out. Now I bought another one because yeah, it was cheaper to buy a whole used one than it was to buy just this centerpiece. So I bought a whole one, and that's just seat warmers and shit on this. But yeah, that was easy to swap. And obviously transmission control module, I've removed that because when you go into gear, it just tells the ECU to idle up for the extra load. There's the old automatic shifter and the old automatic dash. So yeah, swap them over and that was it. Now there's a few things in VersaTuner that need to happen as well, so I'll go show you those codes that we need to ignore. Okay, so these are the 2 codes that you need. Well, one code that you need to ignore is U0101. So that's just because we've removed the TCM, and yeah, this one needs to be ignored. And most of the time you're not going to have a secondary air injection system, so that's that little Dyson pump that sits up and pumps air into the exhaust manifold at idle when it's cold to keep the cat up quicker or something. But anyway, most of the time it's always gone. And yeah, I have P0037 because I have a wideband O2 in my secondary O2 sensor. So the only one you really need is U0101. Everything else stays exactly the same. Now, you might be asking yourself, why go to all this trouble just to convert a 4-port into a manual? Because the 4-port didn't come with a manual gearbox in Australia. I think there was some imported, but yeah, anyway. Yes, the 6-port is more powerful, but it lacks torque. So the 4-port does have more torque than the 6-port, and therefore it is easier to drive and it's got more power, like more driving force behind it. So just daily driving the RX-8 in a 4-port manual is very, very easy. And especially because I had the original plan to go turbo, I didn't want a 6-port because I don't want to have to deal with the extra valves and extra injectors and all that kind of crap. The 6-port yes, it does make more power standard, especially when you turbo it, but the 4-port can rev exactly the same as a 6-port, even though the rev limiter is set to 7,500. You just need to upgrade the rear stationary gear, and it has the more torque, and once you port the 4-port, it does brap with a bridge port, so where the 6-port does not. And just when you turbo a 4-port, it is definitely better because you have the low end torque to get you from stationary to through, halfway through first gear. And as soon as boost kicks in, that's pretty much shits all over a 6-port. So that was my reasoning behind it. But I drove the car for a couple of months without a turbo, just with the manual conversion done. And from a 4-speed automatic to a 6-speed manual, there was a night and day difference. Like, it went from a piece of shit 4-speed that struggled to do 100 k's an hour to a car that I couldn't drive in the wet because of how much torque it had. The rear wheels just couldn't hold on. So definitely worthwhile doing it. But yeah, it's personal preference. I'm sure there's a better gearbox, like an automatic gearbox you can put in if you want to stay automatic, but it is what it is. All right, so that's really it. It was actually really simple to do. A lot of people overthink it. Like, yes, it's missing one bolt from the bell housing where the starter motor bolts. Who cares? It's not making 600 horsepower. It's not going to affect it. Obviously, you can make a plate up if you really wanted to. Just to cover the flywheel, stop things from going in there. I'm not concerned in the slightest. So the only thing you got to keep in mind is to realign the power plant frame when you put the gearbox in. So I did not have any idea what the hell that was when I did mine, and the first drive the gearbox was whining and making all sorts of fucking noises, and ended up crunching 3rd gear and 4th gear a couple of times, and I was like, maybe the gearbox is stuffed. I bought it secondhand off Facebook, and the typical marketplace crap. You're just like, I bought a dud. And then I got back and I did a bit more research, changed the gearbox oil, still had a problem, and then found there was an alignment. Now, the alignment I had no idea about, and that's what actually damaged the gearbox. Occasionally 3rd gear, shifting down from 4th to 3rd, I get a crunch. It's maybe 1 out of 10 times. So I'm running Motul 300V gearbox oil now, which has been by far the best gearbox oil that I've tried. I've tried MT90, I've tried GLE, GLS5, 4, whatever. All different types of oils. I've been through probably 4 different types, and the Motul has smoothed out everything entirely. I still get that random occasional grind, and it's always at the worst possible time. Keep that in mind. I'll throw an image up on how to align that, but essentially it's just an M12 by 1.5 bolt. It needs to be about 100 mil long, roughly, so pretty long. And you put it through the cross member into the gearbox body, and it pushes the body up. And you just got to measure. I think it's like 56 mil or something between the cross member and the body of the gearbox. If that's not aligned, it's like plus or minus 2 mil. You will have gearbox problems. If it's too far out, you will kill the gearbox. Like, I damaged mine. Lucky I caught it pretty quickly, but there is some damage. I just got to pull the gearbox apart and replace one of the gears. Apart from that, very simple to do. I wouldn't be scared at all doing it again. I may even do it to the red one eventually if the wife wants a manual. But obviously the 5-speed version of the RX-8 from, I think it's the UK version, the rear iron of that is different, and it caters for a manual gearbox. So the 6-port one will bolt up perfectly fine, but the 4-port automatic version does have that cutout that I showed you. But 1 bolt, who cares? It's not going to rip the gearbox out and fling it into your feet. But see how it goes. Any questions at all with it, obviously let me know. But the most important part is don't change the ECU. You'll fuck up the immobilizer, you have to get it recoded. Make sure you do your neutral safety switch and your in-gear switch, reverse switch. Hook up your brake switch, make sure that's working, obviously. Take your neutral safety lockout cable, move it out of the way, take it out, whatever you want to do there. And then just flash that code to tell the ECU to ignore that the TCM is missing. Obviously the car will start, it'll idle pretty high though if you don't flash that code. So that's the main reason I bought VersaTuner, was to ignore that code. But yeah, I'm sure you can do it other ways, but that's what's worked for me and I haven't had a problem since. So let me know what you think. But yeah, thanks for watching the video and we'll see you in the next one.